Welcome everyone to another Cook with Jase episode, and we're not just wearing these hats for any reason. Christmas is coming up. They are ridiculously looking hats we've got here, but you know what? I've had an episode in a suit where I look completely uncomfortable, and let's continue that trend. So, brought to you, as always, by Crema Coffee Garage, Thought Fox Media and Enliven Nutrition. But today, another special guest next to me, two men in the kitchen. Yes, it does happen. Jack.
Yes, Terrace Physio Plus. I don't spend much time in the kitchen, so anything could happen and probably will.
Absolutely, that's what we like to see. Action-packed Cook with Jase here. So I've heard all the stories about Jack's finesse, how he won his wife over with his cooking skills, and I had to get you on the show, mate.
It's going to be fun. I told her this morning that this was what I was doing, and she said, mate, you can't cook toast. Don't know how you're going to cook a Christmas feast, so we'll see what happens.
So not many people know you're very much into the powerlifting scene.
I am. So I train powerlifting myself. I've done the full evolution from just general bodybuilding type stuff, CrossFit, Olympic lifting, and now my current mode of choice is powerlifting.
So you very much sympathise with a lot of guys out there, and even ladies as well, that volume is something that you like within your meals.
Yes. Yeah, as many calories as possible, generally speaking. Too
easy. And this is something we're going to do a little bit calorie friendly, but I'll show you some ways you can pump up the calories as well for Christmas. I think the message of Christmas is one of those great times of year where you should be able to relax, let your hair down, not get too insane with your diet and nutrition. Look, you've got to enjoy life, enjoy food, but really, if you're looking after your diet and nutrition 80-90% of the time, then you can let your hair down at Christmas, hey?
Good.
Sound good?
Yeah. Great. I mean, if you can teach me how to have fun and enjoy Christmas without going crazy on the calories, my wife will thank you.
Absolutely. Well, let's definitely get this in there. So in terms of Christmas, do you ever really have any sort of a salad idea in your Christmas back in the O'Brien household that you really love, or is there other things that you generally kind of veer towards?
It's funny, isn't it? Because normally the traditional is the hot lunch.
Yeah.
But that can only go so far. So something that goes with ham, like Christmas ham, is a big thing in our place. So anything that works well with the cold meats is really nice.
This will definitely do that. This is an absolute family favourite that I've been doing for Christmas. We've been hosting Christmas at our household, and I've mentioned a few times my other half, she's a dietitian as well. So we've got the pressure on us to put up some good food.
Can I come over?
Absolutely, and this is going to get the volume. So as you can tell on the side there, we've got a huge size bowl that we're going to fill up in terms of this salad. It's a beetroot, goat's cheese salad with a balsamic glaze dressing.
Great.
Hungry?
Love beetroot.
Yeah?
Usually out of a tin, I think. I just eat what I'm given usually.
Yeah.
But fresh beetroot is I'm really interested, so.
This is the way to do it, guys. So as you mentioned, a lot of beetroot comes in a tin. So, there's some great convenience aspects there, but knowing what happens in the tin, you obviously get a lot of preservation, heat treatment, you get some salt, and more often than not, you're going to have a sugar element in there as well. So if you've had standard beetroot before, and I'll guarantee you, so many people haven't ever tried a real beetroot before, it's not sweet. Really at all. You've really got to work to get that sweetness out of it. And you can do that. And today we're going to show you a method where you don't have to use tin beetroot. So we can actually save money if you get these at the right time of year.
Sure.
Taste even better. And we're going to save those calories for some awesome things a little bit later on. So.
And speaking of the powerlifting, I'm told that beetroot is good for like muscle repair, those sorts of things.
Absolutely. So high in what's called nitrates, help to expand your blood vessels, and that's going to allow more oxygen and nutrient delivery.
Is it in some pre-workouts and that sort of thing?
It is. What they use is some precursors to nitric oxide production. So you might hear things like arginine or citrulline malate thrown around there. But what happens is it's basically putting something in your system that turns into nitric oxide further on down the gravel path. They don't actually convert that well. So we've actually got beetroot juice supplements in shots. It's highly concentrated beetroot juice now that as long as you take it and you don't rinse your mouth out because it reacts in your mouth and starts that chemical reaction.
Really?
Yeah, you get the full effect, and it's got some fantastic performance benefits, but also health benefits as well for cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure. You need this in your life.
Great.
So
Let's do it.
let's get these chopped up, yeah? You feeling confident?
Oh, dear. I'm not often trusted with a knife, so anything could happen. So how do you want it chopped?
All right, let's go around about a centimetre, kind of cubed. Just think the amount you'd like in a salad without actually having a massive chunk, all right? So
So if I get this all over my hands, am I going to look like I've bled everywhere?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you're not wearing white.
Do we need to top and tail them, or?
No, as they are, mate. Get all the fibre in there. They've been washed, obviously. Please wash your fresh fruit and veg. God knows what people do to them these days. So safeguard yourself that way. But we're actually going to roast these hard and fast. 220 degrees, fan forced oven. Save yourself cleaning time. As I said, we're not Jamie Oliver doing 15-minute meals. We actually have to do the cleaning here. So 3 sheets of a really good quality baking paper is going to save you cleaning, okay? So please. And he tells me he's no good. Look at that job there.
Are these the right size?
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. So
Right. Just make sure my wife doesn't see this so I don't have to cook at home.
shout out to your wife as well. I think there's some times that you're going to be jumping in the kitchen now, mate. I've busted the myth, that Jack's not much of a
Okay,
chef.
so I try not to, when we first got married, I cooked really simply, plainly. She didn't like it. So now I don't have to cook much at all.
Yeah.
Did you play the same cards?
Opposite, actually. I actually had to cook to get the deal sealed with my wife, unfortunately. So I've essentially stitched myself up, I think.
Right, so you set the bar too high.
Yeah, I suppose that depends on who you ask and who eats my meals. But she hang around, so either she's got some pretty twisted taste buds, or it must have been half decent.
Mate, I can't blame her for sticking around.
Oh, mate, we'll see at the end of this, mate. We'll get your honest opinion of how this salad could potentially pair up with that Christmas ham for you.
Now, I've got an interesting one for you.
Yeah.
I've got a friend who does beetroot and marshmallows.
Beetroot and marshmallows.
Would that work?
And how do they have that? Is it something where they roast it, or they just...
as part of a salad. So
Okay.
I think there's some sour cream involved.
Yep.
But marshmallow is the random salad ingredient.
Just thinking most dishes, you want to have a salty element, you want to have a sweet, you want to have sort of an acid element in there as well. Looking at the beetroot, though, is it something a tin beetroot, or is it more of a fresh beetroot?
Tinned.
Tin, yeah. You've got kind of sweet and then sweet again with the marshmallow. It might be too much.
Sure.
I don't know. But saying that again, a lot of people's taste buds adapt to the type of food that they have. So, if you, say, go overseas, have a lot of salty or sweet food, you come back and maybe you're having more of a vegetable-based sort of diet, not adding a lot of salt or sugar to your meals. Things kind of taste bland for a while.
Sure. Yep.
Same kind of thing. What's sweet to that person might, not be so sweet to another person, might be insanely sweet to another person. But, that's a random combination. But, hey, I'm nowhere near to judge here. Maybe they toast the marshmallow and they get some toasty...
Caramelization? Is that what it does?
Yeah, absolutely. That could be another element there. But as you're seeing, guys, that is a perfect size for this beetroot. So you've got a little bit of a latitude. If you really like a massive chunk of beetroot in your salad, by all means, but think of your guests. You might have Granny down the end of the table who can't swallow that well, so please don't give her a whole beetroot in the salad. You want to be mindful of that.
And it feels to me, so this is one of the first times I've cut up raw beetroot. It feels harder than the average tin beetroot.
Absolutely. And you can imagine
difficult to chew.
Oh, it would be. You need to cook this and break it down. If you ever do have raw beetroot in a salad, you can grate it and it actually goes a hell of a long way. And it's a really great way to add volume to your salad with low calories and getting all those health benefits. Mm-hmm. But saying that, I guarantee you, once you try this, you will never, ever have tin beetroot again. That's a very big call. And I'm sorry, Golden Circle, if you were thinking about sponsoring us, but this is a key.
How do they fit in terms of price-wise at the markets or in the fruit and veg aisle?
You can honestly get this as low as $2.99 a kilo.
Okay. How does that compare to apples?
Apples are ranging between $4 to $7 a kilo, depending on where you get them from.
Okay, so it's fairly cheap.
They're not too bad. So red hands, that's exactly what you want out of it. So the pigment within beetroot is something, if you eat a lot of it, it'll actually come through in your urine and also your number 2. So I've had a lot of people that have put some more beetroot in their diet. And I'm apologising to our producer for all the noise that I'm making right here. It's absolutely terrible. But tuck in that baking paper. Now, here's the trick. Balsamic vinegar, guys. If you've got kids and you want to get them into it, this is the time to do it. So generous glug. Generous glug, is that a scientific measurement? It is actually. I've I've heard it on many a cooking show before, so I figured I'd steal the glug. I think it's another Jamie Oliver reference. You can tell where I've got that. Jamie will be on the show one day, I'll guarantee you. All right, so you want to make sure
he would come after me though.
Well, I am working my priority. So we had Crema on previously, working heavy with our sponsors here. We've got our very good friends with Terrace Physio Plus, and also Jack. I've known you for quite some time now.
Yeah,
and yeah, what is better than cementing a nice relationship with some food, hey?
absolutely.
That's all it is. Hard and fast, 220 degrees. We're going to chuck that in the oven, and we're going to come back and let's start putting the rest of this base salad together. Alrighty, so we do have that in the oven now, 220 degrees fan force. It's going to take around about 20 minutes to half an hour. Keep an eye on it though. That balsamic, what it's going to do, it's going to burn off the harsh acidic elements in there, and you're going to get that natural sweetness coming through, a bit of caramelization. But as I say, keep an eye on it. You don't want it to burn, and some people really have some turbo ovens. You know, when you read those recipes, it's like 220 degrees only takes half an hour. After 10 minutes, your chicken's completely burnt.
So how do you know when it's cooked?
Keep an eye on it.
Right. When it changes colour.
You'll see. You'll see. It'll be bubbling away there.
Okay.
And that liquid at the bottom there will really thickened up, which is what you want.
Sure.
So, salad time, yeah? Alrighty. So,
we got?
let's assemble it. We've got some Lebanese cucumber, some baby spinach. We've also got some goat's cheese and also some low-fat ricotta, and I'll show you why I've got both of those in a minute. And then the dressing at the end is going to be our standard 3-to-1 ratio that I've talked to you guys before about. Vinegar, oil. So 1 part vinegar, 3 parts olive oil, okay? Easiest thing to do, but I've pumped this one up, if you can remember, and this is a challenge for you guys. I want you to go back to one of the original Cook with Jase episodes, just after our bulk salad prep where I did some dressings. This is not ordinary balsamic vinegar. You see how it's a bit thicker, mate? There's
like a syrup.
Exactly. Now, there's no sugar in that. All I did was get a couple of bottles of balsamic vinegar, so a couple of 700ml bottles, put it into a saucepan, and I boiled it.
Right.
Make sure you tell your friends, your neighbours, the rest of the street you're going to do it. You open up all your house because it will literally stink the house out.
In a good way or bad way?
In a bad way. You're really going to need to open up the windows, put some fans on, but it is totally worth it because you know you can get that balsamic vinaigrettes already pre-made as a dressing.
Yep.
Bucket load of sugar in those.
Okay. Which is what thickens it up.
Exactly.
But if you boil it, it's a natural thickening process.
And sweetens it up as well.
Sure.
Concentrates that flavour, and I tell you what, that is just going to hit you in the face.
Right. Bring it on.
Which is what we want.
Absolutely.
First step first. So we've got some baby Roma tomatoes there as well. All we need to do is halve them, mate. So if you want to get to halving those, we'll chuck this spinach in our big bowl here.
Sure.
Don't be too precious, guys, about how this goes in.
And tomatoes straight in?
Yeah, just chuck them in as you go. All right, so Lebanese cucumbers, just take the ends off if you need be. Okay, so best way to cut this. We've only got a couple of ingredients in this. I want you to think of the baby spinach and the cucumbers as carriers of flavour. If you ate this raw, it doesn't have much flavour in it, yeah? So let's just cut this in half.
Is it true that it takes more calories to eat a cucumber than you consume?
Oh, the negative calorie debate. I've heard that with celery as well.
Right.
But, no. No, it's one of those things
Depends
that,
how much you chew it.
yeah, it really does. And most people that I meet inhale their food. So you really want to spend the whole mindful eating approach as well. There's another topic of discussion. You really want to have 20 to 30 chews each time you take a mouthful of food. Most
Each
people
mouthful?
don't do it. Each mouthful, yeah.
That's a European type thing, isn't it?
It is. But saying that, it waits and gives you that time for satiety to come into it, which is what you want. So what we're cutting this here, we've got it on an angle, rock chopping method. So this is something where we have a tip of the knife blade on the board. We're setting our guard up with our fingers rather than having our fingers like this, an easy way to lose our fingers. Sure. So rock chop and then just back and forward and just sliding our fingers back. So there's no risk of cutting your finger off, and the finished product is perfect. What we want for that salad to go through. So you want to know the cucumber's there. Is it a massive element that you want a big lump of cucumber? No. But you want to see it. It's more of a visual thing, and again, it's that carrier of flavour.
Sure.
So yeah, get this through, and it's one of those things that you can get some speed up. I did a bit of an intro for knife skills as well. To start with, please go back and watch the first couple of episodes, because most people, if you're doing this, that's a quick way to hate life, okay? And you're going to hate cooking as well. So invest the time in actually doing this. And people have been waiting for me to cut my fingers off. I swear half the viewers are waiting for me to cut my fingers off, but it won't happen because you've got that guard there and you can be happy about it. And just be nice and quick about it.
It's not fair.
We actually had some feedback. It's like, where did the chopping go over the last few episodes?
Right.
It's just.
Can you just watch what you're doing? I feel like you're going to chop a finger off and I'll have to get my strapping tape out.
Well, that's why I'm doing this right now, because I know I've got some quality physio help there, just to help me out. And, it's a pretty consistent end product coming out. It's not too bad, and I'm not really watching what I'm doing.
It's good enough.
No, it's good enough. Do you reckon it'd pass?
I will eat it.
O'Brien household?
I will eat it.
You'll eat it? That's all I need to hear. All right, so 3 cucumbers, done. Get a food processor if you really want to be, I don't want to use the term lazy, but
Efficient.
efficient, yeah. All right. Okay, so let's just sit this over here. Dressing, 3 to 1. All we need to do is whack them both into that bowl there, if you could, mate, and give it a good swirl together with a spoon, and our dressing is made. But this salad wants a creamy element. It is begging for a creamy element. So we've got low-fat ricotta and goat's cheese. Now, do you know the difference between these in terms of nutrient profile?
No idea.
When you go with a ricotta, we've generally got a higher protein content. Going to something like a goat's cheese, it's the same as what a feta is. It's a mostly fat-based nutrient, which is generally why they're more creamy. Saying that, very calorific, okay? A little bit of this goes a long way, to be honest. So we want to see this as a visual effect at the end of the day, but we also want to get that creamy nature through here and save some calories. So let's thin it out by using a low-fat ricotta, which is literally, again, a blank canvas, a carrier of flavour. The easiest way to do it.
Okay, so not as much flavour, not as many calories.
Exactly, right. Exactly what we want. So all we need to do is basically get your half and pop that in. So the next little trick I'm going to do for the presentation, I'm going to mix that together, put this in the freezer. Might sound weird. Just put it in the freezer. Don't forget about it.
That's the goat's cheese, right?
Yep, put the goat's cheese. Absolutely.
Sure.
So what they'll do, it'll firm it right up, and when we go to crumble that over the top, we're going to get a powdered dusting like Christmas.
Otherwise, it's a bit gooey or...
Yeah, it'll stick to your fork, essentially. Sure. So, yeah, and perfect.
This is all right.
How's that dressing look?
I would drink it.
You want to taste it?
I can taste it. It will work well with some salad.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what we want, because we've got a lot of carries of flavour in here, so I think that'll get massively diluted once we get that through the salad, yeah?
Yeah, good.
Yep. All right, so now's the part where we get very, very hands-on. And I want to mix this through. Would you be able to pop that in the freezer for me, mate?
Sure.
All right. Hands dirty. And if you're married, take your wedding ring off, because the last thing you want is some goat's cheese or even a wedding ring to go through the Christmas salad. It's not a good look.
So goat's cheese is a fairly soft consistency.
Absolutely. And that one's been out a little bit to room temperature.
Mm-hmm. Is that suggested?
Mostly to get the best flavour out of a cheese. If you notice any cheese boards that you might get when you're having maybe some wine or some nibblies, always come out at the room temperature to really amplify that flavour of the cheese.
Yeah, right.
And that goes with most cheeses. And even you'll notice the tomatoes that we used are a room temperature. A lot of people don't realise that when you store your tomatoes in the fridge, although you will extend the lifespan of those, they're best served at room temperature, okay? And some people even buy their tomatoes a little bit green, ripen them up at room temperature so that they're not stuck in the fridge, and then you get that woody tomato that you may see at some commercial takeaway establishments on your burger, if you can relate to that.
But generally speaking, food tastes better room temperature?
Some stuff does.
In terms of like natural stuff.
Absolutely.
Don't have your meat at room temperature.
No, there's a whole food safety element there as well. And I mean, even with cream cheeses, I mean, there's a lot of education for pregnant women when they do go down the road of getting pregnant, that it's one of those high risk foods for microbial growth. So if you're pregnant, probably not the best thing to be using room temperature cheeses, but for everyone else, tuck in. And that's what we're looking for, guys. Look at that even coating on our salad there. So what we want to do from here is we want to add that dressing there. So feel free to chuck that in, mate. And yeah, and then I'll get a good mix on as well. Perfect. So what we want here again is just that even coating. So if you actually used a standard balsamic, because we've actually boiled that down and really concentrated that flavour, you'd have to use twice as much. But if you use twice as much balsamic, you've got to use twice as much oil, twice as many calories.
Okay, sure. Because olive oil is fairly dense in calories.
Absolutely. So you're looking at 1 good tablespoon of olive oil is equivalent to 3 apples.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Which is pretty heavy.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting. So because we've boiled the balsamic down, we've reduced the sugar required in that, and it means we can use less oil.
Absolutely. And all those harsh notes.
Outcome.
Absolutely. All those harsh notes have gone out of it as well.
Well, I can't say I haven't learned anything already.
Absolutely. There we go. That's what we're looking at, guys. So we're going to get this beetroot out of the oven very shortly. We're going to pop it on top. We're going to do that nice dusting, that Christmas dusting, and we're going to have a fantastic salad that everyone's going to love. And you may not get any of it. I generally don't get any food around here.
It disappears.
We'll see you soon, guys. Okay, guys, we are back, and this is a finished product, and please use an oven mitt because you could be having some very third-degree burn moments if you don't. That's what we're looking like. And again, smell pretty good.
Unbelievable.
It's amazing how much that beetroot soaks up that balsamic, but it does reduce down, caramelizes. Now, we did have the Italian herbs there, remember? And the other part is as soon as you bring that out for the first stir after about 10 to 15 minutes, dump all the herbs on top, give it a good mix around, and that's the way to get that lovely Italian flavour in there as well.
Unbelievable.
So usually you let this cool down because it's screaming hot coming out of the oven. But what we're going to do is you put half of it in there, give it a good mix around, the other half sitting on top for presentation. Because it's screaming hot, if we put all of it in there at the moment, you're going to have the limpest looking salad ever. So what we'll do is we'll just get the ones on top and I'll show you why we had this goat's cheese in the freezer, okay? Okay, so
we're just spooning it in and then you'll mix it in? Normally you'd mix it in.
Normally you do the whole mix in. So all you would see at this point in time is very similar to the salad with it mixed through. You probably see flecks of it through there. But half the mix you would definitely save to have.
So what were the Italian herbs?
Just literally a dried Italian herb mix. So it generally is a rosemary, thyme, oregano, and a bell pepper.
Is it oregano or oregano?
Oh, it depends on what part of the US you're from. Oh, what is it? Quinoa? Quinoa?
Quinoa, yeah.
Are you from Bondi or? Seriously, I get that so many times, it's not funny.
Right.
It's a raging debate. How about in the physio world? What have you heard in terms of some funny nutrition stories?
Oh, nutrition stories.
Yeah.
That's a good question. We see a number of injuries from people in the kitchen.
Oh, please do tell.
Well, it's often just inconspicuous stuff. So, people reaching overhead to get things out of the cupboard, bending down to get things out of an oven if it's down low. So it's been interesting. We've been able to help people who might be building a home or renovating to put in an oven up a little bit higher, like a cupboard oven. Is that what you call it? Something a bit higher.
Yeah, the overhead types of ones.
Yep. Cooking related stuff. We see a lot of people injured in the garden. So they might be trying to do the right thing and have the veggie patch out the back, but again, if they're not used to exercising and bending down and lifting and carrying, one full on Saturday, as spring rolls around on top of a winter that you haven't done much, can often leave you a little bit sore and sorry afterwards.
Our producer, take note. Very much a green thumb, Mick, our producer. So you really don't want to go down the wrong path and do yourself an injury because it'll probably lay you out from your gardening for quite some time.
On that, people often ask if there's different foods or things like that they can do to help speed up, say, muscle recovery, muscle repair, whether it's an injury or just, DOMs from training. I believe beetroot's pretty good for that.
Absolutely. Again, that nitric oxide, expanding those blood vessels, getting those nutrients to the muscles and also that injured area, and helping with that anti-inflammatory process as well. You really want to make sure that you get that nailed. As you know, anti-inflammatories
So top 3 foods that are anti-inflammatory?
Top 3 foods. Well, I'd go down the road of omega-3s also. So I've done salmon on the show quite a number of times. You can look at your nuts as well. So something like a walnut high in the omega-3 elements. But beetroot would be up there in terms of something that's going to help with that sort of process. Turmeric is something that is coming into its own. Depends how much turmeric you like. People are putting turmeric in everything. I'm seeing turmeric lattes now.
They look horrible. I'm sure they taste delicious. But
you got to mask it. It's got that weird sort of how would you describe that, actually?
It's a herby sort of...
Yeah. And the colour? I mean, I don't know, like putting Agent Orange in my latte, but it's something, it's like a bad spray tan that's been put in your latte.
Do Crema Coffee Garage do turmeric lattes?
Absolutely not. Only the best from Crema, as we know.
Good.
And that's what we were drinking before the show, actually. So shout out to Crema again for a very fantastic blend.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is what we're looking like. That is why you put your goat's cheese in the freezer, because if you don't and you've got it at room temperature, it'll be mush on your fork. All I was doing was running the fork over that because it had firmed up and it came out like basically snow on top, and that's your presentation element.
It's beautiful. It's all your Christmas colours all at once, Jase.
It is, and it's such a simple thing. We've had, 5 or so, 6 different ingredients. We've still got our dressing to add on top of that when we do serve it as well with the balsamic and olive oil. So, yeah, right at the end, that's what we'll do. But this is what we're looking like. And again, if that wasn't screaming hot, you'd mix half of it through and then do that step. But, guys, that's going to be something that's really going to be a crowd favourite year in, year out.
Love it. And really easy. Didn't take long at all.
Absolutely. So you're feeling a bit more confident in the kitchen now?
Look, I would happily do it. I feel confident that I can do it. I still think I trust my wife more than myself.
I like that. Get agile free card, yeah? Well, guys, that's it for this episode. Been fantastic having you on.
Thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun.
Have to do it again, I reckon.
I'd say so.
Yeah? Don't sound too convinced. All right, let's get this plated up and show you what the finished product looks like, guys. But that's it for this week, Cook with Jase. We'll look forward to seeing you soon.